Okay, so the company's called Clari, Clari, and they're a rocket ship AI SaaS startup here in Silicon Valley. And with the strike we did this week was this way, very low cost. So the components of the strike were 2 press releases, a LinkedIn onslaught, and enabling their sales organization, and a PowerPoint deck. That was it. Okay, so how can that be a strike? Well, they launched their category. The product category is called the revenue platform. So they're what we today call a revenue platform vendor. And the POV was around this idea that revenue is the most important process in the company. And yet most people don't have an enterprise. They sell to large size enterprises. Most companies don't have an end process. And as a result, they suffer a problem called revenue leak. And revenue leak is defined by revenue that you've earned, but somehow slips between the cracks. And so it doesn't turn into revenue. Okay, so we laid all that out 2 years ago. It's been incredibly successful. Their competitors shit themselves. And Clari's leadership has accelerated over these 2 years. So what we now wanted to do is shift the focus to creating a radical sense of inevitability. Part of what we're doing in category design, and when we do a strike, this has got to be in our minds. When we communicate to our supers, what we're saying, and we're implying it, is that it's not a matter of when you buy from this category and therefore us. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So this concept of creating a sense of inevitability, that's why we say, oh, this is going to be a large and growing market. We wanted to do 2 things with this strike that happened just on Wednesday. So here's what we did. It was centered on 2 announcements that we coupled together. The first was a major partnership with Deloitte Consulting, and they launched their revenue consulting practice and are becoming a major Clari technology partner and implementer. Big news. The second, and this is a learning that is so powerful in category design. What are we learning? What do we know? What can we see in the data? What are we learning anecdotally from customers? And what are we learning empirically from the data of customers using our technology? And as we were sort of digging into all of this, I had an aha. And I said, well, hey, guys, if we took all of our customers and looked at the pipeline that they're managing with Clari and added up the total pipeline of all the customers, 2,000 or 2,500 or whatever the number is, what's the sum total of that number? So they went and dug around and they came back to me and they said $4 trillion. And I said, $4 fucking trillion? And they said, yeah, isn't that cool? I said, not only is it cool, we just won. So the second thing we announced, we dropped a press release that said Clari, first revenue platform provider to achieve 4 trillion revenue under management. We say in the press release, revenue under management is a critical metric for evaluating revenue platform vendors. And every person in the company, or hopefully every person in the company, changed their LinkedIn profile, you know, the kind of headline under your face, to $4 trillion man, $4 trillion woman. And if you read it, what you see in there is we declared victory. We have the world's largest and fastest growing AI revenue database. And that means we know more about revenue than any other company on the planet. And here's why that's valuable to customers. And so essentially, with 2 press releases, some LinkedIn activity, and a slide deck that we're that's kind of started to go viral about the world's largest and fastest growing AI revenue database. And so that's it. That's all the strike was. And it is on fire. The competition have shit themselves completely and totally. So we did the two strategic things you need to do to create inevitability: large and growing market, massive consulting firm, huge commitment, 4 trillion. And here's why 4 trillion matters for customers. Here's the competitive advantage it gives Clari, which is an advantage for customers. And oh, by the way, ask anybody if they've got 4 trillion under management or how much they do have under management. And we know the competition has so little under management, they'll be terrified to answer that question. And that was it. That was the core of the strike.